This is Tech Vibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. Tech Vibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios. Hey everybody, this is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Tech Council. Welcome to Tech Vibe Radio. So glad you're joining me here on Sunday morning. I love giving you a front row seat of the coolest tech companies here in Pittsburgh. And today we're going to turn it up a little bit because I have a company you probably have not heard of, and they're just making some serious waves here. I'm talking about Mega Cat Studios, and I have James Deighan here hanging out with me today. James, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you guys reached out to me, and I got this presser and had all this information, and I'm like, who are these guys? And I was going through, I'm like, I didn't realize there was this massive gaming company here in Pittsburgh building really cool games, pushing the envelope. I'm like, you got to stop by the show. So here you are today. I'm so glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We have a lot of fans in Pittsburgh on the customer side, but I think a lot of the businesses and our friends and colleagues in tech, it's not super renowned unless you follow games really closely.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have to come clean. Like, I'm not a gamer, so I might ask some dumb questions or whatever it is. So just kind of bear with me. But I'm completely entranced with what you do because I know to build the type of games you guys build, that is some hard work. I mean, you're talking about high quality, high level stuff that just, I mean, first off, go to the website, go to megacatstudios.com and just see for yourself. So we'll keep repeating your website. Before we jump into things, real quick, what's your background and what do you do? Before we went on air, you mentioned that you've been part of a few startups here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
What's your background here in Pittsburgh?
So I'm a career technologist. I have like a software engineering background, but prior to that, it was just a personal trainer that loved video games and cats. So eventually I landed up with Mega Cat.
Very cool. So the love of cats. I like that. I love cats too. Shout out to Tilly at home, my favorite Mega Cat. Yeah. How many cats do you have?
I have 3.
Excellent. Yeah. Very cool. I know. Cats are just cool.
I agree.
You named the whole studio after it, man. Now the question's been answered. So what's up with these cats? And now I know. First off, how cool is that you're combining kind of your 3 things?
Yeah, it's just like after my last startup, which we did have a successful exit with, I remember just sitting down with my original founding team from that company and kind of doing wish lists of what we wanted to do next. And
yeah,
my wife was the one that really nudged me over the line on it. We were sitting in my house in our video game room, which I've been collecting games since forever.
Nice.
Like I still have my every single game I've ever received, I held growing up all through high school, college.
That's cool, man. You got a collection then.
Yeah. So we're sitting there in the video game room and just talking about it. And I remember my wife kind of saying, why don't you do something in gaming that you love? I'm like, well, gaming's impossible and crazy as all the challenges and difficulty of software, but it's also hit-based, and it's, Pittsburgh's probably not the right region, and it's probably best left as a hobby. Just make sure I can always love it and enjoy it, and then
your wife sounds pretty cool.
She's the cool one.
Shout out to her, man. I like that. Very cool.
So fast forward 3 years of us doing it as a hobby, while I was doing other kind of tinkery, new startup-y things. It started to just get traction on its own.
I love it.
And I figured we'd, if we're gonna do it, we might as well go full tilt. So we had a lot of challenging years the last 10 years, bootstrapping Mega Cat, but we've multiplied year over year. I think last year and the year before and the year before that, we've been growing 150 to 250% per quarter.
That's amazing.
So awesome,
whoa! When you talk about those type of growth numbers, that makes my head spin. Like, how do you manage that while putting games out and everything like that? Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting stuff. And you guys are located, what, in Pittsburgh's East End?
Yeah, so we have an office on Bigelow Boulevard.
Okay.
It's a Polish hill,
Yeah.
technically.
Okay.
Nice
Love it.
unobstructed view of the city in the back. Very Pittsburgh construction. It's like 4 stories built into a hillside.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I love it. So, but once again, just tucked away here in Pittsburgh, you guys doing some great stuff. So let's kind of jump into like what it means to be like a gaming company. Like, what are your titles? What are you building? Like, where do we go?
Yeah.
How do we start?
So our most recent release was in August, and that was part of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. So Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit. For those that are not familiar with the franchise, if you have kids under, let's say, 20, you probably have seen Five Nights at Freddy's. It's kind of this haunted Chuck E. Cheese aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Very deep fandom, very lore heavy. Fairly beloved across the gaming community. And what made our execution unique is that we brought a fresh kind of game design recipe to a genre that's had 10 years of success with a different camera, visual, a different aesthetic. We very much made like a Mega Cat take on how to reimagine the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Fans loved it. It was a global top seller across Steam, which is the world's largest gaming PC platform. Across that launch weekend, it was #1 on YouTube Gaming for a couple days. So it was a huge moment for us as far as
can
visibility
imagine.
goes. Yeah,
Wow.
Something around a little over 10 billion impressions in the first week.
Wait, back up. 10 billion impressions.
So many impressions. Yeah,
That's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
how that's to feel just absolutely so amazing. What you said, you've been plugging away at this for like almost a decade.
Yeah. Well,
Was this like one of your biggest moments where you've had like this massive exposure? Like,
yeah,
like
I'd
that?
say so. We have a product mix that includes some self-published titles, which are by far the most risky. So when you self-publish, you retain the biggest percentage of sales.
Take
but
on the
you
most risk as
take
well,
on the most
too.
risk,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
We also have a work-for-hire business. So it's a major component of MegaCat, where we make games for other people.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. We'll jump
Do a
into
lot
that.
of
I like it.
yeah.
Okay.
It's still a piece of our model, but it's now like sub 15% of our revenue, which we're quite proud of because we're going from the front, very, very high risk and still winning, which is exciting and scary at the same time. So when we were coming up to that launch, that game had been in development for 4 years. Like, games are not quick.
Yeah, that is something where there is a stretch of time, and the world changes a lot during that stretch of time. So it's like,
No
man,
doubt.
you're really rolling the dice on some of that stuff, right?
All day long. When you're, creating product design, there's a certain amount of looking into the future and existing psychology around what players might expect based on other games in the genre, on the same platform, in the same price range. But so much of it is just like forecasting how people might feel and trying to deliver something at a high enough quality standard for a genre that it can immerse the player and they can't deny it. And it's hard to do for sure. And we put a lot of effort into all of the things that decrease that risk, such as focus groups and moderated play sessions.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Moderated play sessions, focus groups.
So
Oh my
much of
goodness.
it. And
Wow.
And it's like just kind of looking at these player behavior and where they drop off and where they get excited. Or
Right.
in this game, there are some components of like jump scare and kind of fear, but all through the lens of this kind of tactical, stealthy adventure. So it's not like an adrenaline rush as much of it's this sense of unease as you're exploring these kind
Interesting.
of dark corners and unlocking the mystery and trying to save, in this case, your dad from this baddie.
The Five Nights at Freddy's. That's so awesome. But I think about you mentioned like just the competition out there. There's so many titles out there, and to be able to stand out like that, I mean, I feel like you guys hit some real like something magical there to have that happen where you really stood out.
No doubt. And since we've started, we actually have trade show banners that say this. People would come up to our booth and they'd say, "Do you do this full time? Why are you making them retro styled? Like,
Really?
Are you sure this is the best choice? Like, are you killing your resumes and your career?"
Wow.
So continuing to carve out that niche,
Okay.
and just become like the best of that niche has been like a calling card.
Very cool. That's what's part of it. It's finding that niche and just
Yeah.
digging into it. And you guys are doing so well at it. Oh my goodness, I'm having so much fun. Excuse me, having so much fun talking to you, James, without a doubt. Hey, in case you just tuned in, we're talking to James Deighan from MegaCat Studios. Go to megacatstudios.com. You will be highly entertained. Their website is pretty amazing. It is fun. And we're going to come back and talk more with him about what he's growing here in Pittsburgh. And yeah, what can I say? This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. Go to pghtech.org and learn all about how the Tech Council can help your tech company succeed. Make a mark here. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Every company needs to attract and keep talented people. To do it, you need a strong company story told by those who experience it every day, your employees. So invite your people to be your brand voice and let the Kindling Culture Agency gather and ignite your stories to engage and attract your people. Learn how at sparksomething.big.com. That's sparksomething.big.com. Your dial is set to Tech Vibe Radio, brought to you by Compunetics, Chorus Call, Highmark, Huntington Bank, Kindling, PNC Bank, and Savier. Here are your hosts, Audrey Russo and Jonathan Kirsting of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, coming at you from the Huntington Bank studios. Welcome back. So glad you're spending Sunday morning hanging out with me on Tech Vibe Radio. I'm Jonathan Kirsting, and if you just joined us, we are hanging out with James Deighan from MegaCat Studios. I'm encouraging you, go to megacatstudios.com and check out the site. You're going to be amazed to know that there's a gaming company here in Pittsburgh just building some just insanely cool games. James, thanks for remaining here for the last 10 minutes of the show with me today, without a doubt. So glad to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I can't wait to tell more people about MegaCat.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it's like you guys are blowing up in a good way. I mean, you're talking about massive global exposure all in a Pittsburgh company. I just love that part.
Yeah, we're excited. We set a wish list together up as a team on what type of games we wanted to create and what's next. We had a couple of goals for this year that we blew past. And one of them ended up including like a giant cat statue for the office. So that gets installed in October.
And I love the fact you're a cat person because I am too.
I always tell everyone I'm very much a dog person,
right.
But the ethos of like what makes up a cat,
yeah,
the curiosity and the tenacity, the 9 lives, all these things, that's like part of our core.
I believe it. Yeah. It definitely goes into how you operate. I want to jump in a little bit about, and you guys are all about the retro stuff, which I think is amazing. Before we left for break, you're saying people were kind of maybe dinging you on that sometimes, like, why would you go retro? And I just love all things kind of retro. And so tell me more about like why that's of interest and really how that's been the key to your success.
So when we first started MegaCat, I would say that the general sense and feel was that we were like way more punk rock than radio.
Okay.
And the motivation to do a lot of this was really just to be truly proud of the type of work we're doing as creatives.
I love it.
So some of that is we were raised in a generation with the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis that's the hardware and industry era that inspired us to follow in these footsteps. Mm-hmm. There's also a timeless execution for things like pixel art and chiptune music, and that sense of nostalgia feels so personal. And if you're using gaming as purely an entertainment medium, there's something that helps kind of encapsulate and help you almost time travel to the sense of relaxation when you were 12.
Yeah.
Responsibilities were very low.
100%.
And the games were just for fun, and it wasn't this lean forward, finger karate, high stress, like I'm missing a deadline, what kind of notifications are on my phone. So we just wanted to capture that sense of strong, immersive nostalgia. And I think doing that, for us, it's the gameplay hooks and the style of the games and the aesthetic and the pacing, all the things that allow it to be snackable, that if you're going to pick up and play, you don't need like a personal trainer to teach you how to do it. You can just get right into the fun part.
I love it. Is there something to like having that niche? Sometimes being small really makes you stand out, right?
Yeah.
Because then you get these very loyal people that just love what you do.
No doubt.
And it becomes a thing. So is that true when I think that?
Yeah, I'd say in our industry right now, there are so many games,
Right.
which is fantastic at times for customers, but because of the lack of curation and the lowering of kind of quality standards, there's this sense of discoverability driving the success of game companies, where 20 years ago, you could just hit the retail button and they'd work out. So that's not the case any longer. So these games have to be at a certain level of execution for quality, and they have to have some reason for the fans to come back and discover you. So that niche positioning, like knowing that we're trying to build this, best retro gaming company in the world, which is the dream.
I love that, man.
When
Yeah.
people find one of our games, they generally go to our backlog. And
They start saying, wait a second, I like this.
Yeah.
What else do these guys have, right?
Yeah, and it's very much like we used to use this as verbiage, but we didn't have a ton of fans, but we had a small cult where we'd have people that have like tattoos and merch, and it's like,
really?
Oh yeah,
Wow,
and
okay.
and it was so strange at first because you'd think like, man, we only have 20,000 followers across every platform. We're not huge. Years ago, now it's 100,000 on each, but it's just like it's funny how that niche positioning resonates so much longer with people, and then if they love that, they love it so much that they're there to kind of commit to the brand, which is uncommon in a hit-based industry.
I was going to say, yeah, having that level of loyalty then is just
awesome.
going to be pretty amazing. Plus, you're really connecting with people that way too, which I just love.
Yeah, it's the best. I mean, there's nothing more satisfying when you're making games than having the fan reception be as positive as we get to experience.
Totally.
And part of it is we don't have to find a new audience every time now for every game. Like there's a lot of folks that have been backing us and backing our plays for 5 years, 10 years.
I think about it kind of snowballs as people kind of get into you.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the next release and so forth.
Yep.
As far as that is, but you also build games for other people as well too. Is that's
a
a
work
thing,
fire
right?
business is like was the true fuel for many years.
Okay.
And we work for all sizes and types of companies. Like locally, PPG, we do all the games for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We, outside of Pittsburgh, we do games for a lot of massive game studios. So legacy brands like Atari, modern brands that want, games execution as part of their trade show, and music XM. So all sorts of ways to apply it and bring it to life. So it's fun to make games at every level, and being like the games expert in a crew of trans 360 media people, like here's the movie, here's the release date for this other new content, here's the animated series. It's fun to interpret those things into our medium. Mm-hmm. But as we grow and take bigger risks, like the real dream is to be a fully independent creative studio with no work for hire. And we're currently at this really great mix where it's around 85% MegaCat driven products and only 15% on the work for hire, which
gives you all that independence
Yeah.
to really build the things you want to build, right? And really look at what the audience is looking for, your fans are looking for, and bring that home.
No doubt. And we want to keep some work for hire. Yeah, 'cause there's just something fun and sexy about working with, Jurassic Park. Or
I was gonna say, if you can work with a big brand
It's
and
awesome.
put your touch to it and,
yeah.
and be part of that, that has to be just a ton of fun. Oh my gosh, we only have a couple minutes left. It seems like you have an awesome work culture. You're a very focused guy. Like I can tell you want to have fun, but you're also very serious and you want to make sure that the quality is there and everything. What's it like working at MegaCat Studios? Are you hiring? Do you need any part-time podcast people to hang out? I'm willing to. I'll work for free.
Now we're talking. Yeah, so working backwards, we are hiring.
Okay.
Our jobs page is up to date on the website.
Excellent.
So megacatstudios.com, click jobs. Lots of cat puns on there too. Without question, our strength is our culture. So we have a 90% retention rate.
Amazing.
10 years in an industry that's not known
where
for
people
that.
flip out of that every
All the
year.
time.
It seems like
And
absolutely.
I think that really indicates how good we are at growing people up, treating them well, providing them professional development opportunities, raises, all these things that make retention work.
Totally, man. No, it's just so cool, and I'm really happy that your wife convinced you to do this.
Yeah.
I got to meet your wife one of these days.
All the cats
man.
are too.
Yeah.
She's the powerhouse. She has a company in Pittsburgh too. She is Fox Blossom. They
Very
do
cool.
corporate gifting.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice, dude. You got this entrepreneurial family thing going on here.
She brings the power. I just bring all the nerd stuff.
There you go. I like the nerd stuff. I like it all. That's super awesome. I'm just so glad you guys are here in Pittsburgh doing what you're doing. So glad I got to tell just a little bit of your story here because I don't think anyone knows about you, and I want that to change here in Pittsburgh because Mega Cat Studios, man, you guys are crushing it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We're trying to make the Pittsburgh signal really push up next year. We have some projects that'll put on the map, and we can't wait to share that with everyone else.
Very cool. James Deighan, you're the best, man. Simple as that. I'm going to say, once again, go to megacatstudios.com. Just go there, check out the titles they have. Hey, if you're looking for a job, they have some open positions they're looking to fill for now. It seems like a great place to be without a doubt. So this is it for me today on Sunday. I'll be back next Sunday with more Tech Vibe Radio. We just love bringing you the companies that are just making Pittsburgh tick. Simple as that. Companies just like Mega Cat Studios. And yeah, have an awesome rest of your Sunday, everybody. And if you don't forget, go to pghtech.org and check out how all the ways the Pittsburgh Tech Council can help your company succeed. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. Thanks for geeking out with us on Tech Vibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. Tech Vibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savier at savier.com. And we're always coming at you from the Huntington Bank Studios.